Coming to you straight from the Rio Grande and beyond. Broadcasting to the four corners of the globe. So grab your seat, your coffee, or your sundowner.
Okay, everybody, here we go.
On point, as always. This is Gloves Off. Gloves Off.
Back at you in Gloves Off, and today I have a great guest. The director of the Health Department of Laredo, Texas, Dr. Richard Chamberlain. How are we doing, Doctor? You doing good?
Doing well. Thank you for having me, Mr. Buitron.
No, thank you for coming up, and thank you for doing the work that you guys have been doing out there. And very important to find out what's going on, especially with the time of the pandemic and the restrictions and the mandates and everything that's going on. So we're gonna be touching base on all that today. About travel.
Absolutely.
What can you tell us about travel in the States and then abroad?
I can definitely share that I know a lot of us here in Laredo, and of course across the United States and the globe, are anxious to start traveling again. But of course with travel, there are going to be certain restrictions that each individual state, each individual country is going to uphold for persons that are going to be visiting. And so as we are moving into the spring break time frame, as we move into the summer time frame, where we know a lot of families are going to be traveling, it's going to be really important that everybody looks to their destination location for information as to what they need to present to restaurants, to hotels, if they are requesting it. As we do know here in Texas, we don't have any restrictions on vaccine to access hotels or restaurants. But as you may know, if you do travel to California, if you're in Los Angeles, you'll need your vaccination, proof of vaccination to enter restaurants or bars, or therefore even some hotels. And that's also observed in the New England area as well. But traveling to other countries, as we do know, the United Kingdom just recently released all mandates that they may have had for masking, for isolation. So they're a more relaxed country right now, as they are in the Scandinavian province as well. But if you do look into the European Union, there are many of their countries that require proof of vaccinations, and for you to present that at their local pharmacies and then downloading applications that can then validate your vaccination status as you're trying to access restaurants, hotels, etc.
What problems? Because that's great to know. What problems are you finding out now with people, especially from Laredo, Texas, going out to other countries or visiting Mexico, or visiting other countries, that they're coming back and saying, "I need all these vaccines," or how can you? There's no way you can boost them up to par. You have to wait the timeline, correct?
Mm-hmm. You do have to wait the timeline, so it's really important to start planning now. If you know that you were planning on visiting one of these European Unions or to South America, these countries that you plan out your regimen for your primary series. Your primary series with our Pfizer vaccine is 21 days. Your primary series with our Moderna vaccine is 28 days. And as mentioning, primary series is just your first and your second dose. And some countries do require the additional dose, the booster dose. So that is another time frame that is necessary to be able to observe. So specifically for locations that you'll be visiting, and they are requiring just the primary doses, right now is the time we always preach to get vaccinated. So start today. Today would be day one for your Pfizer. If you want to have a shorter time frame, definitely recommend the Pfizer vaccine. So you have the 21-day time frame. So that'll put you in line at least to before summertime comes in to be able to travel, as well as the Moderna. That is a 28-day interval in between your first and your second dose of the primary series. But if you already had purchased tickets to visit France at the beginning of April, you're not going to have that ability to be able to visit or travel within the country around Paris or any one of the regions, as they do require that proof of vaccination to be able to get around. So right now is going to be an important moment for persons who are very anxious to start traveling again, of course within the United States and outside abroad, to get vaccinated. Start your regimen today.
Well, There's some great stuff bringing forward, because you got folks that live by doing, speaking engagements and stuff like that. Myself, one of the things we do is teach outside the state. Everything's been stopped for the last couple of years because of the pandemic. But now, which countries would you suggest? Can you tell us? Suggest just to have the first two, and which ones are the ones that have the three? How can we find out that information?
So definitely, as you're looking to travel, of course, from the United States, whether you are traveling via any one of our airline providers, they do have that prerequisite. It's known as Verifly, that you do need to download prior to even boarding. And so as you download Verifly, it'll give you instructions as to the specific countries that you'll be visiting. So within your American Airlines app, within your Southwest app, within your United Air app, whatever it may be, you can find that information there for the destinations that you'll be visiting. Aside from that, you can go directly to every one of the travel centers that are within every web page of every country or every state that you might be visiting, to be able to access that information and give you the most up-to-date, as they are constantly evolving. So what was once for France that you were required to get COVID tested to get in, which was at the beginning of February, by the end of February, that requirement is no longer there. You just need the proof of vaccination. What was once required for the UK to have vaccination and COVID testing, that's no longer there as well. So what might be concrete today can change in the next 28 days, but we don't forecast vaccine to be removed as a potential pass to access public sites.
Okay. Now, what other problems are you seeing with travel and so on, so for the community out there to understand, besides taking the vaccines?
So travel within the states, as you know, you can jump in your car and drive away. So that's where we do have persons that come back and let us know that they reached their destination and they weren't able to access certain public locations. So it's really important that you follow up with that information based on every state's or the state's guidelines for vaccination and the ability to access public places. For international travel, as I mentioned, the Verifly app will not let you board or not let you get access to your boarding pass. So that helps to prevent you from getting into a country, getting refused, and then being sent back. So that's a good application to have already, the Verifly app, to be able to prevent that type of situation from occurring. So where there's most situations would be in the United States for persons that are traveling by vehicle out of state, for them to have some type of issue from not being vaccinated that they can experience. So we do recommend, of course, getting vaccinated as soon as possible, as you know, as you may be traveling, and then also just to help ensure that you do have a higher level of immunity, as you might be exposed to persons for prolonged period of time on flights that are international for 10 to 12 hours, or even a simple flight from here to Chicago, from here to New York, from here to Seattle, that is about 3 hours.
Absolutely. Now, a lot of folks in a lot of colleges, spring break comes and they hit the beaches. They hit Cancun and Cozumel and all those good places. But is Mexico, what's the guidelines for traveling to and from Mexico?
So the guidelines for traveling to and from Mexico is that they do recommend having vaccination, but there is no proof of vaccination that is being requested as of this moment. Of course, that could change in the future, so it's always just important to be staying up to date. If you are traveling by vehicle, as I know I do have family in the Nuevo Leon area, there is no specific checks that they are requiring you, of course, other than your passport, to pass the Kilometro 26 as you're traveling into Mexico if you're going down the 85. On airfare, it's the same as well.
Absolutely. So, Doctor, thanks for letting us know. And if they needed to go take their shots, or where do they go? Can they go to the health department?
Absolutely. You can come visit us at the Laredo Health Department at 2600 Cedar Avenue. We are providing vaccines for everyone over the age of 5 years old. Of course, your primary series, your first and second doses, and your additional doses. The terminology has been already changed from being fully vaccinated to being up to date with your vaccines. So we encourage everybody to be up to date with your COVID vaccine and all your vaccines.
Okay, so if you guys need to go get your vaccine, just go to the health department, and they'll take care of you.
Absolutely.
Once more, thank you.
Thank you.
Folks out there, we'll leave you with this. You all stay safe, be safe, and let's keep moving forward. Until next time, peace.